I've been in the garden of my mind all year, pulling weeds, planting dreams, dancing through fears. This love ain't passive, baby, it's policy. Pretty boundary, grown holy. Breathe with me, breathe with me.
Hi, and welcome to episode 3 of Moving Mad. And buckle up, guys, because class is in session. Today, we're talking about a hard-hitting topic, a topic that I discovered within my container, unfortunately, as I took a look back at all of the experiences that I've had for the last year. And for the last year, I have really just been living in this system, a bunch of little hacks and tricks and rituals that I've created for myself to really manage my creative flow while also combating my burnout and making sure that I can take an idea all the way to the end. But in essence, the biggest takeaway that I got from my container was this: you need to learn how to become the CEO of your energy. And let me explain. For the past year, I've been living in that system that I teach you guys, the little hacks and tricks. But what I didn't realize was that I didn't actually break down any of my archetypes. I've had a really hard time trying to narrow in on my target audience, and that's impossible. I'm neurodivergent, I'm creative, and I have a big heart. I want to help everybody. So I was really struggling. A lot of people were telling me to go for the high executive CEOs, and I said, fuck them. I don't want to help them unless they're doing good stuff. Let's back up unless they're doing good stuff. Then a lot of people were like, well, you can't really help people who are in burnout, who are at the level below you because you're struggling. And I'm like, no, but they deserve a voice and they need help more than just stupid products and guides. And I know I got it. And so I really settled right in the middle. But let me tell you, the middle is actually where the shitstorm is. Not shitstorm. That's kind of mean. The middle is where the ego really drives. And I feel like that's where a lot of people become disconnected with what rooted them in the first place in this lovely creative journey. So that's why I took a step back and I really wanted to understand what are my archetypes of the people who I want to support, because these are people who have gone through the same exact things that I have. And I can't teach or help someone if I didn't personally experience it. And I'm not going to lie and say I've accomplished X, Y, and Z just so I can get a buck, because just me, I've tried. And that door slammed in my face really hard. Bum, bum, bum. So what I ended up doing was I took a step back this week and I went through all of my journals. And let me tell you guys, I have boxes of journals, notes, audio recordings on my phone, really just documenting all the ways in which I got stuck. And what I created were these 5 different archetypes. And I will show you not only the trap, talking about the shadow side of business of energy. This part right here is showing you that there are people who are siphoning your energy, harvesting your energy, who may be doing it hopefully unintentionally, but 9 out of 10 times intentionally. And what they're doing is draining your creative life force and also keeping you stuck, making you doubt yourself, and ultimately putting your self-worth to the floor where you give up and you just become a bitch for them. Truly, you give up. And that's almost exactly what happened to me. So this is my survival story, I guess you can call it. So enjoy. So as I said, I didn't just study these archetypes this week again. I went back and I became them. So when I was the stop and go creative, I was high one day and then I completely knock out the next week. I'm like, oh my God, I'd be so bummed that I allowed myself to get to the point of depletion yet again. Like, I can't slow down. I always felt like I was dropping the ball in general, or I always felt like I just could never manage my own energy. Like, I was just, anyways. Then I was the overthinker, the knower, where I would just be sitting on all these amazing ideas and downloads that would come to me. But one moment I would be sitting on all this brilliance, but paralyzed by my own spirals. Then we have the healing loop veteran. We have the healing loop. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm goofy. So I was the healing loop veteran. I would say probably in January, mainly. Of course, definitely needed in January, but what this was me believing that I just wasn't healed yet, that I was signing up for all these workshops, that I was taking like signing up for all these like lead magnets, clogging up my inbox with all these like studies and tools and newsletters. And I just was going crazy thinking that I was going to find that perfect thing that was going to fix me or give me the answer that I was desperately looking for. Then this one is the one that keeps popping up. The Burnout Survivor. I was definitely the Burnout Survivor. And to me, I think this one's a little interesting because I have high capacity to get a lot of things done, but I also love that feeling. But what a burnout survivor is a person who is addicted to momentum. Bom, bom, bom. Yep, you heard it here first. Oh, I don't think you really heard it here first. I'm not the first one to say it, but yeah, that was a really tough realization. Like, I knew I was an adrenaline junkie, but I didn't know that I was addicted to momentum. Anyways, I'm still working through that because I don't know. I like the thrill. Maybe I just need to replace the thrill with something else. Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, this person would think that their exhaustion was a badge of honor and they would just collapse. They thought that that was a part of the grind. Then we have the Sensi baby. These are the sensitive visionaries. This is a person who would dim their light because they were called too much. This one hurt. These hurt writing out. Do you see how these hurt writing out? Just seeing parts of you in every single one of these. But listen here, they're really helpful at least. But anyway, this sensitive visionary would quietly watch others profit off of them. And this is the story of my business. And this is the story of the battle that I have been having for the last year, almost 2 years, where I would help these clients because I do love the work I was doing. But what would happen is they would profit off of me and leave me so depleted. Like one client literally shut my whole Squarespace system down, trying to use 3 different credit cards. Mind you, that weekend we launched a product that I helped him launch and he brought in 20K. The invoice that crashed my whole system that backed me up for a month was less than 2K. 20K, 2K. Do you see what I mean? And that is going to bring us into this next topic that we're going to talk about. And that is the shadow economy of energy. Because the shadow economy of energy is so sinister. It is not it is sinister. I'm going to have to say it is sinister. We have been in spiritual warfare for the last God knows how long. And while a lot of this has been in the ethers, in our dreams, aka why I keep saying I've been fighting people in my dreams, well, now I've recognized that that has actually been happening in the 3D, in the reality. And I have just been, I hate using the word naive, but I callous? No, I would just say unassuming. I just didn't assume it. But let me explain where I'm coming from with this. Because we know that there's an economy, right? There's money, there's labor, there's profit. But there is also the other side. That's the light side, surprisingly, right, guys? That's the light side. The shadow side is where your creative life force, your attention, your nervous system is extracted and then converted for fuel for others' profits. It helps them either grow their system, increase their magnetism, or be able to attract and pull in more resources, people, places, things, profits. And what they're doing is basically harvesting your energy for their own. So this is slightly different than, I would say, an energy vampire, because you wouldn't even notice that, right? Like an energy vampire is a person where you go to them and they just drain you immediately. You know that that person's an energy vampire. An energy harvester is a person whose system is so intricate. And I've got the sauce. I got it all, y'all. Just, oh, I can't wait. Okay. So before I even jump there, let's break down the different ways that people can harvest your energy or different areas. Number 1, your workplace. Your workplace can harvest your overdrive and then shame you anytime you need recovery. Algorithms harvest your attention and then sell it to the highest bidder. F you, Meta. No, but please don't block me. Wellness industries harvest your healing era and sell you infinite loops of self fixes. Take note of this. Service jobs harvest your loyalty and availability until your body breaks down. Even your friends and family can harvest your empathy and keep calling on you as their emotional generator. Bitch, who gonna plug me in? Who? And the worst part is that this exchange rate is rigged. They completely profit while you deplete, while you go into cycles of overanalyzing and spiraling and just going into the void and just being lost with it. Like they just do it and get away with it. And I'm so over it. Can you tell? Like I'm actually really trying to hold my anger in right now. My body's literally convulsing. Like I'm actually really upset because this is something that really does hurt. Like it really is a very real thing that happens. Okay. So how do these lovely people trap and siphon your energy? I'm going to actually go by each archetype because I had to sit with each one of these and write out how I have been affected by this and how I hope to share this with you guys so you guys know what not to do. So, number one, if you are a stop and go creative, you are the person who says, I will do it tomorrow. Just take note that this is your trap. Your trap is inconsistency. Your inconsistency is shamed publicly, but privately it's exploited. So, let me explain. Your employers love your burst of brilliance, so they design deadlines that force you to sprint. They punish you for needing recovery and tell you that, well, you should have told them ahead of time that you were tired or you needed more time. But you did, and they ignored your Slack message, your emails, or your text. How do these places harvest your energy? As a stop and go creative, they'll drain your peaks and call your valleys lazy. Now, this is key because as a creative, as a neurodivergent, we ride a wave, emotional wave until we reach a decision. So because you are at a high, they will capitalize at you at the high. They would see you so emotionally charged and amped up, and they will ask you something that will either take away your energy, be too much, but they know that you are not in that right headspace because you're so energetically high and happy. So you say yes. And then what ends up happening is you crash because you take on more. What you really need to do, and this is for all archetypes, is when you're at a high and someone asks you a question, feel your body first. Did your body react to it, yes or no? Did my stomach say, ooh, that sounded cool, or not? If it did not, then leave it. Don't just say, okay, no, thank you. If it was a yes, you have to say, oh, that sounds interesting. Let me come back to you and continue riding your emotional wave of creation because that will get you to your answer. That's where I get trapped all the time. And this is why, because they see that I have these amazing bursts of brilliance. And then they say, I want more. I want more. And then they extract. And then when I finally have to put it all together, it's too much. I'm like, wait, what did you do? And now it's my fault. And I have to prove myself to them. It's a hot mess. So basically, make sure that you do not give anybody a solid yes or no during your peaks and really start actually mapping out your valleys and putting in calendar breaks. Like if you know that you, for example, me, I know if I do 3 weeks on, I need 1 week where I'm chilling. Typically that week is when I'm on my period and I'm usually creative, which is what I am doing right now. Anyways, because all that ends up happening is that you end up taking on a lot because you're feeling so excited. You feel like you're on top of the world. Like insert the anything is possible video from whatever that basketball player is. I should know his name. I feel bad. But anyways, basically what they're trying to do is they capitalize on your high. And then all of a sudden, when they know that they put too much on your shoulder, they will blame you and say, look, you're not reliable. And then you're like, oh my God, you're right. I'm not reliable. And the next time that happens, give them a middle finger. And why was that middle finger hard for me to put up? Give them a middle finger and say goodbye. Okay, number 2 is the overthinker / the knower. They are the, hold on, let me think, actually overthink this real quick. You are the person who is seen as a smart one, the one that just gets it. You're in meetings and then all of a sudden you have a Raven Simone moment. You're typing and then you're like, oh, I know the answer to it. And then you just kind of I sometimes allow it to play out a little. I'm like, oh, interesting. And then someone calls my name and I'm like, oh, sorry. But that's what the overthinker and knower is. They're the ones that get the ideas, the strategies, the clarity that the team really needs, right? But what ends up happening is that then you package that up for somebody and they cash in, baby. That beautiful God-given gift of yours, that download that God gave you, or source or universe, whoever you speak to, you took it into your body, worked through it to give it out to somebody who's paying you nothing basically at this rate, so that then they can cash out and quadruple their own money revenue from that. Because now your intellectual property, your creative genius gave somebody a bigger check. And now that's how they harvest your energy. Your brain is just unpaid R&D, like it's just unpaid research and development. Your attention span fuels algorithms and ads, and your clarity never serves you first. Because once you give that away, then you're like, what's next? What about me? And you just kind of get stuck in that overthinking loop. You see what I mean? The healing loop veteran. Thank you for your service. I'm still working on myself, baby. It's okay. And it's not actually. Okay, take that back. And these are the people who are I'm still working on myself. And here's the thing. You will always keep working on yourself, baby. You will always keep healing. Like, I think like healing is not a timestamp or like a signature. You know, it's a thing that happens every day. I heal. We all heal. You don't have to completely heal in order to move to the next cycle, which is growth. You need to learn how to create healing practices that you can turn to in times of regulation, sure, and processing and transmuting. But that's where I was getting stuck, because at the same time, I'm over here like, why am I repeating the same patterns, the same cycles when I'm really ready to grow and build? Like, I've learned my lessons now. And that's what I have been learning how to step more into is I'm no longer in the trenches. I'm just championing you guys out of the trenches. Actually, that makes a lot more sense if I'm being real. I'm championing you guys out. Like, I see the tunnel. It's right there. So that's what I am doing. And I'm being real with myself because that is where I am at. But I want to be able to be embodied and come into an embodiment as I am teaching and championing and guiding you all through all of these courses and thoughts and lovely concepts. But anyways, going back to this lovely healing veteran, I'm so serious. Okay. The trap is wellness industries, your self-help gurus, your mindset coaches. All these people are keeping you stuck in the waiting room because they are just feeding your mind with more information, and your mind does not need any more information. Like, I just touched my mind and she's on fire right now, which means she's probably heated up. And I actually don't know what that is. I need to come back to her, but I only know that she's like that because I'm pushing through this, but the reason I am pushing through this, but see, that's how I have conversations with myself, and now I'm able to calm my body down. But these courses and these coaches and healers will sell you more fixes. But what we are now doing is we're no longer taking a trigger and reflecting and we're expressing that out or releasing. We're actually integrating and choosing to move different or build something else, because I'm over this world that we've been in. And at this rate, we're not fixing any more systems or putting band-aids on them. We're just fucking moving our own way, our own path to our own beat. Boom. Okay. Because integration is never something that's been taught to any of us, right? That's the reason why I find that the way that integration is actually going to start becoming a bigger thing or something that people will be able to click and be able to move through quicker is if we share our own systems. That's the reason why they don't want us to talk, because they know that neurodivergence, they know people who are highly attuned, who have the genius to actually sit down and write out these systems, will make these guys, the big guys on top, these coaches, gurus, mindset coaches, go bankrupt because we already have all the information. They just don't want to give us the secret sauce, which is us. Anyways, as you can tell, I'm getting heated and now my body's feeling a lot better. So what that basically means is that I need to be a lot more fierier. I like that. Anyways, okay. And this is the tough part. Even your loved ones will benefit from your endless availability because you don't set boundaries, right? And they are going to constantly keep pushing you and then say the moment that you start going up, they're going to be like, wow, you're too busy for me. Oh my God, bitch. Doesn't a phone work two ways? I think people forget that a phone works two ways. Regardless, these people, coaches, gurus, the people who give you too much information and give you no boundaries, They harvest on your not ready because you become a profit center. I hate to say it. Your shadow work keeps everybody else comfortable and it keeps you stuck because you go out into the world and then someone triggers you. And someone triggers you, you go back to the drawing board, into your room, you close the door, and you like write out like, "Dear diary, fuck that bitch." And then you're like, whew, release. And then you keep going. That's also very similar to kind of the stop and go one, where like as soon as something gets in their way, they kind of have to go back and retrace their steps. Same thing is the case for this person here who is the healing person. The big thing is you are no longer healing, my guy. It's time for you to grow because that is where you are able to break the patterns, to break the loops that you keep finding yourself in. It is so important because you need to also change your environment because your environment shapes and influences your actual growth. I kid you not, by simply me moving apartments, it clicked in my head that I just went from a healing to a growth stage in my life. And this is very evident of that. Okay. Anyways, the last one is the burnout survivor. This one's me a lot. I just be saying this all the time, but this is a person who says, "I'm so tired, bro." This is like the hustle culture. Like, this is the one who's like, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. They kind of just glorified it. And I'm not gonna lie, I guess I wouldn't say I glorified it, but let me take a step back. When I say glorified hustle culture, these people are a little bit different than those that I talked about who are addicted to momentum. Because the people who are addicted to momentum are the people who are constantly chasing clarity or trying to find their thing and think that momentum is going to get them there. The people here who are glorifying the exhaustion are the people who are terrified of sitting still with themselves because they know that they are in the wrong path or they know that what they're doing is really depleting them, but they're in too deep. So they have to keep going until something clicks and then they're out. And so what this archetype experiences is the workplace or the people they work with will exploit their loyalty and just say like, "Wow, you're so on it. You're so available. We love it." And clients would reward your 2 a.m. replies. They'll be like, "Oh my God, like, I'm so happy I can at least send these to you," and then apologize after. But when it actually comes time for you to collapse because you're a human, unfortunately, fortunately, my bad, y'all. I just want you to know I have an Aquarius moon, and now that I keep thinking about this lovely moon of mine, I always thought of it as a benefit, but sometimes it really does make me kind of a robot and detached from life and people and livelihood, but that's for another story, for another time. Anyways, the collapse that you experience after this is not accidental. It's baked into their business model. Everything is done by design. So, how do they harvest your energy, my lovely glorified hustlers? Your nervous system becomes collateral damage. They bank on wringing out every possible energy from you before they replace you with someone new. And I can give you so many examples of this bad boy because let me tell you, this has happened to me multiple times. So, back in December of 2024, I was working with one client at the time. She was the only client I had left over, and I really admired her. I saw her as a sister. I really wanted the best for her, and I gave her my all. At the same time, I was also on the precipice of finally figuring out my thing. And instead of supporting me or instead of trying to, you know, not even supporting me, right? I get it. She is a client of mine. She paid me for a service. What she ended up doing was she convinced me that she would turn me into a talent manager, which is a new novel thing that I didn't experience. And I will talk about novelty in a few parts later, so watch it. But she said, "I'll make you a talent slash brand manager." And I said, "Oh my God, yes, I am down." Takes me on a journey of 4 or 5 months of nonsense, genuine nonsense, and doesn't really even pay me the full amount of whatever we had agreed upon the promotion would be until month 3 of working with her. Uh, Turns out that the whole time since the December of 2024, she was talking to somebody else to completely take my job, and told that person that she wanted to do everything in her power to get as much juice out of me before she tossed me off and capitalized on all of the things that I could create. And the girl said, "Why would you do that?" And she said, "Because she wants to be the star, so I'm going to deplete her." Can you believe that there are actual people like that in this world? Like, that hurt, because I really gave that person a lot. And to hear that something in me, my star quality, you know damn well I was not doing that shit on purpose, because when you got it, and naturally shines and radiates. And some of us don't have to beg people to see us. We just get shown because we just show up. We show up and we show out. But that's what I mean, guys. So many more stories to come here. But wow, I guess this is a lot sadder than I realized. So stick with me here, y'all. The last bad boy. Funny how this works. The last one is the sensitive visionary. I am sensitive. I just feel everything so deeply. That felt really good to say, though. But I do feel things deeply, and there's nothing wrong with that. But regardless, the trap of this lovely, sensitive visionary is your aura, your vision, your cultural instincts are dismissed as extra or irrational, or people think you're crazy, or they just don't get you and they don't want to get you. But meanwhile, those same ideas, those same weird, I don't get what you're saying, I need to sit with this ideas, all of a sudden get stolen, they get repackaged, and then they get monetized by others. And this has happened to me as well. And let me tell you guys, man, it sucks, because the thing is that I love sharing my ideas and I love sharing my frameworks, and I know that people can take it and monetize it and do it on their own. That's okay. If you're on someone on social media and you take my shit and you profit off of it, your karma's gonna come to you, whatever. I don't care. But if at least you're doing it and helping somebody. But if you turn it around and exploit it, then just know whatever I create and you use it for exploitation, the reason that it burns in your face is because you're using it for wrong purposes. Take note, take heed. Yet, for the clients who end up doing this to me, these are the ones that hurt the most, because my ideas are my babies. And when you shut it down and tell me it makes zero sense to you just for you to duplicate it, and duplicate it wrong. Going back to that last client, also, funny story. I should have just made this whole podcast about that client, really, because she was psychotic. I started around TikTok, and she also fucked me over back in March, too. Wow. I started TikToks, right? I started talking and sharing my ideas and stuff. And tell me why. I would wake up every morning, and every morning I would see 10 plus notifications on my phone of this lady looking at my profile on TikTok. And then I would go and look at the podcast episode that she was supposed to film, and that shit would be on there. Or she'll even do it to my face. We go to a sound healing class, and I hear her trying to talk to the instructor about something I had just said. And then what happens? She says the exact thing that I had said the night before, which I saw that she had seen 5 times, because TikTok shows you every time. 5 times. She goes to homegirl and tries to regurgitate it, but butchers it. And I'm like, man, if you're gonna steal my shit, at least do it right. Like, just do it right. It's not like, at that point I looked at it, I was like, it's not even, that's sad. But that's what I mean. That's how they harvest our energy. And that isn't great, because those ideas that you get, they're not for other people. And that's what we have to understand, that the process of creation is so sacred. It is so goddamn sacred. The ideas that you get for you is because God knows that it's meant for you, and you're the only one who can carry it out. And I have been bad. I have been giving it out to everybody and their mamas. And everybody and their mamas has just taken it for themselves. And now I go up to God and I say, God, why am I broke? Why am I struggling? Why am I so confused? And he says, because you don't know how to hold anything. You don't know how to hold anything I give you that you believe is for you and that you can't actually do. And so that is what this whole year showed me, was building up my faith, my capacity, and my belief in myself and my ideas and my genius and my vulnerability and my goddamn brilliance. And this is how every archetype aka every part of my journey has been exploited, harvested, and literally profited off of my whole crash outs, my burnouts, my sadness, my sorrows. And that is why I'm so deeply passionate about sharing this with people, because we need to understand that our ideas, our creativity, that's our currency. Our wealth is dictated by our energetic creative force, our life force, all of that. Fuck the ways that they're telling us that you have to step in line, you have to wait for your turn. No shit. No wonder why the gap from 100K to like 10K is humongous, because the people in the middle are the assholes who are gatekeeping and keeping us stuck until they can get to the top and push us off to the bottom. And let me tell you, just so you know, my name is Manny and I'm the fucking people's champion. And the last thing I will ever let anybody ever do is exploit, harvest, or take anybody's lovely brilliance ever again. And that's my commitment today. That felt good to get out. So going back to the harvest part. So in this person who is very sensitive, and as you could tell, I got sensitive and got mad, but that is okay. The way that they harvest you as a sensitive baby is that they dim your light. They dim you because they tell you that you're too much. And when you are told you are too much, you go back to those old operating systems where you have to then turn to survival, bring your light down, but then the world can't actually consume any of your brilliance, nor can you actually attract anything for yourself. So you kind of just become this like little mute tiny thing while you're getting literally suctioned off by somebody else as you're building for them. And you're literally closing up all the opportunities for yourself and ultimately not even allowing any sort of ideas or insights or anything to come. So then you just get stuck. You're like, what the fuck is happening? So that's kind of the essence of those archetypes and a brief overview of the traps as well as ways that people harvest it. Now, if we talk about why we get blindsided, because as neurodivergents or highly sensitive and attuned folk, we get hit so hard by this because it fucking cuts deep, bro. And the reason it cuts deep is because, hey, how do we miss it? Our pattern recognition is unmatched, right? Like we should have caught that, right? And so when we don't catch that, and then when we're able to feel safe and open up to a person and show them all of that, and then they cut us, that shit hurt. And the reason that it hurts and hits the hardest is not because we're weak, it's because of the way that we're wired, right? We default straight to empathy, not to suspicion, because if our pattern recognition didn't pick up on it, then if someone needs help, well, it's more empathetic. Or if we're trying to build a business, we want to be in service of other people. So we wouldn't really think that someone would take advantage of us. And when we look for patterns for just like a recognition of like, oh, I see what's going on here. And we're not looking specifically for manipulation. And also, we don't chase connection. Like, like that's the thing about neurodivergence and highly attuned people, where we love our energy, we enjoy our time with ourselves. And so when we are met with those that we connect with, or people who come in with that, essence of wanting to connect, we always meet them with that level of openness, once they pass all the checks, right? Because it's a strict program here. But once we let them in, there's no way that we ever consider some sort of relationship that we would have to be any form of extraction. I feel guilty if that's the case. I can't go in with that intention of what can you give me? Because at that point, I also feel like I'd be limiting the possibility of what this relationship or connection could be too, right? So that's not something that a lot of neurodivergents do. So yeah, have I been a victim to narcissism? Hell fucking yeah. Oh my God, I think almost every guy I've been into was a narcissist at no, I think so. Yeah. And a lot of my clients have been narcissists as well, especially that one that did that crazy crash out on me. So, and on top of that, a lot of neurodivergent and highly sensitive, attuned people have grown up in conditions of chaos. So we've had to create our systems to thrive in chaos so that we can actually be there for other people. We've been so conditioned to be there for other people, and all of this has been through guilt. So for us, it's like we feel obligated. We feel like that's just a part of our wiring to naturally operate in a way where we are putting ourselves on the back burner because we'll be okay. You know, we've always been okay. And we've never been the person that people had to check in on. However, when you kind of start like stepping up in your life and doing more and getting up there, that's when you get hit with the you're too much, you're not enough, like you're embarrassed. It's these things that then get you kind of stuck in your head and telling yourself that you aren't really that person that you know deep down you're meant to be. Because deep down, we all have this stage within us that we desperately have been wanting to be on. And we have not had a life that has allowed us to fully create that stage. Unlike other people who need the platform, we ourselves are that platform. We don't think like an exploiter. So we never built systems of exploitation, but we built systems so that we can survive and thrive. What's so crazy is that we just genuinely never see it coming. And the only time that I find that I see it coming is when it's like critical moment, like right when like I'm about to hit a part where I'm like, okay, I'm like in the fork in the road. I really need to make a decision. And then that's when I have to actually slow down. And then that's when I get the information and I have to let it sit in and simmer in. And then that's when I have the washing the dishes. And then all of a sudden I drop to my knees because I realize that I have yet again been a victim of energy harvesting every goddamn time. Every time. Anyways, why the world convinces us that we don't got it. Because they tell us that our sensitivity is weakness, our rhythms are our flaws, and our knowing don't be knowing. It's paranoia. Excuse me? Because if we saw ourselves clearly, we would actually stop fueling their machines, and that's exactly what they don't want to happen. So, why is the world scared of us? Here's the truth. We can never exploit people for profit. It's just not in our design. And that's exactly why they fear us, because we carry the blueprint to restore balance, care, and prosperity back into our people and our communities. We know how to build systems that have helped us in chaos and turn them into something that can sustain us. We embody the rhythms that heal instead of harm because we know that we have really bad tendencies. Not even bad, I don't want to put a label on it, but as a neurodivergent, I do have fixations. I do have certain patterns and loops that I get stuck on that may be a little abusive. So I know how to flip them into something that's helpful and healing for those. Anyways, we can transmute our sensitivity into magnetism and we turn our knowing into authority, our rhythm into prosperity. And the shadow economy is scared as fuck about this because they thrive on keeping us stuck. So much so that they will do anything in their power to stop us. But when we reclaim our energy, we completely collapse our whole business model. And that's why I became the CEO of my energy. And when I use that term, I know it's like a little like two-sided, but when I really mean CEO of my energy, it is my survival tactic that has then turned into my sovereign strategy. It is my big money mindset shift, you know, like yes, we still need that mindset shift, and that's how I choose to operate. I have to have archetypes and characters in my head because I guess I'm a kid, but I like to have different archetypes, and this one, the boss bitch, is no longer a boss bitch because bitch implies that I'm a female dog. I guess I am because I don't actually, I'm not even gonna go there. But anyways, what I meant to say more is that being a CEO is a person who can lead. That is who I am choosing to step up as. I'm not bossing people around. I'm guiding, I'm championing, I'm supporting. And the way that I do that is by making sure that I'm good. Because if I'm good, then my people eat. If I'm not good, the people might still eat. I won't. Won't. But either way, I'm still a family man, so it's okay. It's okay. So the equation that I dubbed funny enough was called the E equals MC squared, which of course we know is Einstein, blah, blah, blah. But really it's Mariah Carey, you know? So with this, it's important that we focus on cleaning out the mess. The mess really is just auditing habits, environments, and relationships and removing whatever drains you. Whatever drains you then gets replaced with reinforcements, things that will fuel you, sleep, movement, rituals, a banana, things like that. Like, for example, I know I just said banana, but like, I know my bad habit is to go and grab a Celsius first thing in the morning, but I realized that that's not good for me. I can't have a Celsius on an empty stomach. So what do? I brought bananas and I said, okay, I'm going to have a banana first thing in the morning because I realized that I just needed to eat. That's all I needed. I needed something sweet. I like sweetness in the morning. I'm like a pancakes girly. Nope, waffles. I'm a waffles girly. Awesome. So now that we have the M part of the equation done, right? So E is your emotions, your energy and motion equals M, your mass. You have C. The C part is your frequency. And this is when you control your light. And it is squared because that is how you are able to amplify it. So the more that you're able to sharpen your resonance, aka your felt sensation of the lived reality you're in, aka what's the vibe, you're able to start protecting your rhythm so much more. And by being able to protect your rhythm, you can stop having such scattered focus and have your energy and attention on the prize. And as I said, this all then creates your output. So let's say, for example, one day you have a really shitty day. You wake up and you're like, I'll skip my habits. I don't feel like doing anything. And then you really then go outside and you go outside and you notice that there's a lot of noise, things don't go your way. Well, then, yeah, your E is going to be down, right? Because your mass wasn't really felt with things that have actually fueled you. And your frequency then plays and multiplies off of that, which is just amplifying your shitty mood. So, yeah, when it rains, it does pour. And I think this formula proves it. No. Anyways, when I run this equation every day, I am able to note the following. I'm able to stop energy harvesting. I'm able to stop my own energy leaks because I know I'd be doing bad things too. I'm not perfect, but I wish I was. Nah, I don't think I wish I was. I wouldn't want to be perfect. But I stop leaking my energy. And on top of that, I'm able to stop apologizing. I'm just like, fuck it. It is what it is. I could take the L or I could take the W. Then I'm able to start leading. I'm able to start designing and I'm able to start prospering. And honestly, I'm able to start feeling more out of myself because I really do enjoy feeling myself. And I hope you guys do too. Okay. Uh, so, what is this lovely vision now that I'm calling in, right? Because my whole thing is it's cool to call out the shit, but we also need to replace that shit with something better. And as the people's champion, I'm sorry, we're all people's champion. Please, are there other people's champions? Come with me, come with me. And I want to quickly pause and say why I call it people's champion because to me, I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be a thought leader. I want to be a people's champion because a people's champion is a person who takes what they've actually learned, experienced, created, and enacts it to the people that need it. A thought leader is a person who doesn't want to do anything because they got the sauce, they got the ideas, and they just want you to buy their information. We have shifted away from that paradigm because the thing is, Uranus in Gemini, which is just now a new transit that happened this summer in July, is moving us away from this crazy information load because that's what's happening, right? We're getting inundated with so much information. What we need to do is not learn how to cut through that noise. We need to learn how to build systems that help us operate through the noise and grow and build outside of it, not with it, outside that bitch. Because we need to know how to open our energies up and be able to start slashing people like Fruit Ninja whenever they come and try to mess us up. Because that's the whole thing. When people see the momentum, they want to ride it. They ride it. I need to be locked up. They either want to write it, they want to cut it out, or they will do anything to pollute it, to slow you down, to weigh you down in it, and then be able to capitalize off of that momentum themselves, which is basically energy harvesting. Yeah, I'm not going to go there. Going back to the positive because we need light now. This is what I would say is my vision, right? Because this is not my vision, right? This is for the collective as well. And what I'd love to have an honest conversation about this. Like, should we lock up these energy vampires and harvesters? okay, we're not going to actually lock people up. But the other day when I was at the park, I had this really great conversation. No, actually, I'm going to tell you this quick story and you guys are going to stick around. But on Sunday, I went to the park to support a friend of mine who was doing a community art meetup. And it was the most cutest thing ever because everybody was like, there's a bunch of kids like drawing, painting, and they're a vendor. It was a whole community event of just beautifulness. Like it was genuinely the most magical thing I have ever experienced and made me realize that that's where I want to be and that's what a people champion is to me. But it was regardless, I was DJing, doing my little thing. I was sitting on a little lawn chair, like my DDJ on my lap. And this girl ran up to me and said, "Chips?" And I was like, "Whoa." And she had chalk all in her hands and like was holding it like in a ball. Like she was about to use that to punch me if she didn't like my response. I was really scared. But I was like, and mind you, I was in the middle of a transition. So that was really hard for me to do because I was in the middle. I was like, ah. And so I turned over to the guy next to me. I was like, help, help. And then he went up to her, and mind you, I'm still in the middle, and the girl's still talking to me. And I'm like, one ear listening to her, the other one listening to techno. And I'm like, please, ma'am, this is not what I couldn't tell which was worse. Like the kid coming up to me with that request or someone saying like, can you put Bad Bunny? And I think honestly, I would still say Bad Bunny. I'm so sorry. No, I still love to Bad Bunny, but I don't take a request. And so he basically ends up helping her with that and taking her off to basically do that. But what was the funniest shit was one of the guys there was like, oh, you should have said yes to that girl because we ran out of chips. So he was like, I'm going to go to Bodega and get some. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He was like, you should have not done that because when you do that for one, you're fucked. Everybody else is going to want one. And I was like, no way. 2 seconds later, I was crowded. I was, mind you, little me, controller, surrounded by 7 kids, asking for chips. I said, get me out of here. And so luckily they came and got them chips. But all that to say is that what I had realized in that is that this is how we give back our energy in a way where we're not harvesting it, we are amplifying it. When we are in these places with people who have all come together to build something so beautiful and meaningful, we are then able to amplify its reach, its ability to actually make a difference and change, and to get numbers. I truly believe in a force multiplier for everything that we do. And it is something that, again, maybe it makes sense because I'm the oldest of 8. I just saw the benefit of having a lot of people doing a lot of things, but regardless, all that to say is when we stop actually being batteries for the shadow economy and start being broadcasters of our frequency, that's when our energy becomes a signal, like a Wi-Fi, right? It's invisible, it's shared, it's always available. And when we stop letting other people and other places and things dictate the rules of engagement and siphon our life force energy, that current doesn't just disappear, right? So if we stop it, what are we going to do with it? As I said, just like in the park, it literally felt like I was just radiating my like happiness everywhere, and everybody's happiness was radiating everywhere. It just amplifies the overall impact. It becomes infrastructure. It becomes nodes in our living network, right? It's like now that high that I have carried, I'm still riding it. You know what I mean? And every reclaimed breath, every restored rhythm, every act of devotion then turns into a broadcast, a grid of creatives, sensitives, visionaries, the be knowing folk, all online, all transmitting from their own beautiful sovereignty. Doesn't that sound lovely? I think it sounds lovely. Our frequency connects us, like always. And just imagine each one of us is like a little broadcasting tower, right? So if our prosperity circulates in this lovely broadcasting tower, our rhythm then restores the balance of that system. It's able to no longer depend on those that deplete our energy in the shadow economy, We no longer need to depend on exploitation. We no longer have to be worried about people harvesting our energy when we come with pure intentions to help them because we see their light. We are able to then just reclaim our energy, and we then turn that into a frequency that helps carry us forward to our goals and helps build our communities back up. Because take a look at what's happening right now with Beyonce and Jay-Z leaving to the UK. Think about the fact that these are millionaires, billionaires who have money to go back and invest in our communities and start there. But what they're choosing to do is to literally bleed your pockets dry, deplete our communities, push us to like literally pin us together just so that they can live in the UK. Are you serious? Is no one seeing this? Like, they clearly are trying to leave us for dead, and that's just not going to happen, because what they're doing is fleeing the mess that they created for us, because they know that we are going to uprise, and when we uprise, we're going to fucking fix this place to a point where their energy gets literal zapped up and their evilness and their shadow dissipate. And with that, I bid adieu, and this concludes episode 3 of Moving Mad with Manny.
I've been in the garden of my mind all year, pulling weeds, planting dreams, dancing through fears. This love ain't passive, baby, it's policy. Pretty boundary, grown holy. Breathe with me. Breathe with me. Breathe with me. Breathe with me. Yeah. Unconditional but not unbothered. You gotta earn this peace, I water. Intentions clear like gloss on my lips. My karma in motion, watch the way I dip. I've been self-cultivated, no vacation. Body like a prayer, mind in rotation. Mars on my hips, Pluto in my gaze. I'ma stay my stillness for a phase. Tell me, baby, can you handle a soft no? Can you dance without stepping on my glow? This ain't rejection, it's redirection. If you ain't with the rhythm, then sit out the section. In my slumber, I hear us, baseline blooming, no rush. Loving loud, but loving wise. I build my garden with clear signs. In my slumber, I hear us, touch me soft, don't break the trust. We heal the world when we love this way. Boundaries, baby, that's foreplay. Boundaries, baby, that's foreplay. Boundaries, baby, that's foreplay. Boundaries, baby, that's foreplay. Every no I've whispered in the dark was me protecting the softest part. You don't get to love me halfway. This frequency requires full pay. Yeah. Tend the garden, water the dream. Boundaries don't block love, they let it breathe. Tend the garden, water the dream. Boundaries don't block love, they let it breathe. In my slumber, I hear us, baseline blooming, no rush. Loving loud, but